Hey there, welcome to day 8 of the Get Up and Go Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, your hostess through the challenge. And I have done something interesting during this pandemic. I have been doing my thing. I shared yesterday some of the things that I'm doing, and I thought about it after I was done. It's like, oh, I'm doing all these other things that I didn't even talk about. And that's okay, because it's only just the tip of the iceberg what we remember to share with people. So I've been talking to literally hundreds and hundreds of people during this pandemic. I've been observing and watching and collecting information and gathering, and it's part of what inspired me to say you need to keep doing challenges. You need to do challenges throughout this time. I already had a challenge planned again before it started, but I knew I needed to continue to do what I was doing. And I've just kind of ramped up some of the things that I do and put them on steroids. But I started asking and collecting and surveying people to find out, what are you doing during this pandemic? What are you doing during this time? And I think that the answers early on, when it first started and we didn't know how long it was going to be, and we thought it was just going to be a few days and a few weeks, have morphed into something entirely different. And it seems like the divide between what people are doing has gotten greater. Even though I thought it would be less, I thought, okay, after it goes a little longer, people would fall into routines and systems and be changing and doing what's right for them and their behavior. But I'm going to share some examples of what people are doing, and I'm only going to use their first names because I don't want to throw anybody out there, throw under the bus, and I don't want us judging what people are doing, because it's teaching us that all of us respond to stressful, challenging situations differently, and how I respond is just the opposite of how some people respond. I run into the challenge instead of running away from the challenge, and it wasn't always that way. I didn't always embrace challenges and love them. I just do now, because I've learned over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of challenges and some really huge obstacles that I hope none of you ever have to face. I've learned that running away from it, hiding, procrastinating isn't going to get me out of it any quicker, and it's not going to be any less painful. A lot of the times it's actually more painful. It was more painful overall and impactful on my life to be bedridden than it was to do the steps and take the steps that it took to get me out of bed and get me back into living my life. So let's look at some people's stories, and they kind of fall into two camps. I call them the warning camp and the example camp. Again, this is my breakdown, my way of describing it, but I think that, in my humble opinion, the people that are in the warning category and doing the things in the warning column are the ones that are struggling the most and have the most to lose throughout this situation, throughout this pandemic. And the ones that are in the what I call example column are the ones that have the most to gain and will gain the most, and will be the ones that capitalize on the opportunities that are all around us all the time, but especially in times of great change, in times of great stress, in times of great need. Do you think we have more problems or less problems than we had in March? I don't know about you. Do you think we're facing more problems, more challenges, more obstacles, more decisions that have to be made than in March? I really do. I don't think that we've gotten any, and here it goes with both things. I think we always have an abundance of everything. There's no less money in the world than there was before COVID-19, right? There's probably more money. There's maybe not more money in your particular pocket or situation or bank account, but there's definitely more, the same amount of money or more money on a worldwide global basis. Money is just always moving around, right? Based on value and the exchanges of value. So I think there's more problems and more money and more of everything, because we live in an expansive universe. A topic that's way beyond the scope of this challenge. So let's look at some people's stories and what they're doing. I think we'll share the warnings first, because to me they're not very inspirational. But let's go ahead and do that first. Lewis said that he is sitting on the couch glued to the news and eating candy and junk food and bonbons and things that aren't good for him. He figures he's gained at least 15 pounds already since he has lost his job and is not working from home. He's just home. Olivia says that she is spending hours and hours a day on social media, consuming other people's, actually living vicariously and living, she says, I'm living through other people, because she lives alone and she's lonely, so she's online hours and hours a day, absorbing other people's stories and content and information. She said she does watch some online news and some online stuff, but it sounds like most of it's negative. Sam is cultivating some bad habits, and I probably shouldn't say, but Horne, since the COVID-19 virus. I'm just summarizing the surveys and the notes and the things I found. I'm not sharing everything because it's not pertinent, but it shows us we can sit on the couch, we can watch the news, we can be glued to the television and let that think for us and impact us. Knowing full well, please, do we not know that the media, the news, the politicians, everyone besides you has their own agenda? Guess what? You and I have our own agenda as well. I want you to realize with 100% certainty and confidence that you can do whatever you want, whatever you set your mind to, whatever you believe you can. But you have to know and believe in your heart that you can do that, and then be willing to take action to move you toward that thing. That's really as hard and as complicated as life gets. What do I want? What do I do next to get me moving toward that? That is the answer to just about every question that's ever posed out there. So let's see what other people are doing. Ed is reacting to everything that happens outside of him, all the external forces. So he lost his job and he is at home collecting his unemployment and waiting for his call back to work. Randy is complaining. I call this bitching and moaning. He says he spends most of his time complaining about what he can't do anymore. He can't go to concerts. He can't go to the bars and hang out. He can't drink and party with his friends. He can't. And he had a whole laundry list of all the things he can't do. But basically it's all, he's focusing on all the things that he can't do and then wondering why he is miserable. So anybody, if you're basically frozen or procrastinating or not doing anything, if you're not at least taking care of your physical well-being and that of those you love and care about, at this point into the pandemic, there's a big wake-up call and a big warning sign. That's why I call these warnings. If you're consuming a lot of outside of you negative things, you'll notice as I share the examples of what people are doing, consuming online information education courses, working from home, finding more efficient and more effective ways to work from home, learning the tools that you need to work from home, and continue to do what it is that you love to do and serve people. Those are all things that you can do. But if you're just frozen, stalled, procrastinating, not doing anything but absorbing negative information or other people's agendas, that's what I mean by the warning. The warning is you're going to come out of this pandemic. You may or may not get called back to your job, but you're going to be the same, probably not the same. None of us will ever be the same after this, but you're going to be worse off than a whole lot of other people, which is going to make you less marketable, less viable in the workforce, not just, in any way, shape, or form. Now, if you're furloughed from your job and you knew it was just going to be however long you're furloughed from your job and you're guaranteed to get your job back, maybe you're feeling confident about that. Maybe you're in the career that you absolutely love. You're doing what you love to do, and just because your business is shut down or your boss had to let you go during this time, you're going back to it. There are actually people, and I know some of them, and they report on the survey that they are actually happier being home on unemployment because the $600 a week bump for 3 months on unemployment is making it so that instead of having to work 3 jobs, and several people reported this, that instead of having to work 2 or 3 jobs, they're making more at home on unemployment. They're actually getting to spend time with their family and their kids that they wouldn't otherwise, because they were working 2 or 3 jobs, then they were working those jobs. And so for them, they're, dissatisfied with their current situation, but they're actually finding ways to appreciate and be satisfied with some things that are happening to them, right? But they still view it as something's happening to me. I don't have any control over it, but woo-hoo, it's like winning the lottery. I get 600 extra bucks a week. And for some people, they weren't making $2,400, much less plus their unemployment before this happened. So I get that perspective. So what are people doing that I consider the examples that I've talked to? And Jennifer is an online coach, but she's also an offline coach. She has a co-working space, and she's been actually going into the co-working space, and I love that she's sharing some of her observations online and what she's seeing that different business owners are doing, because that's right up my alley. I'm super curious. One of the things I did early on when COVID hit is I went downtown in my little town and I walked up and down Main Street to see what different businesses were doing, right? And this was like the first few days of the scare. And I was intrigued to find that some businesses didn't even have a sign or any kind of a note or notification to their customers of what was going on. They just assumed everybody in the world knows what's going on. We're shut because of COVID. Everybody knows that. I don't even have to put a sign up. Other businesses just put the sign up from the city, from the municipality, and said, hey, here's the deal. And then others went an extra step and they said, you know, if you still need help, call us here or email us, or if whatever, you know, deliveries go in the back, but nothing to the customers. And to me, that shows the businesses that really care about their customers and really want them to be communicated with and know what's going on, and those that don't, right? How long does it take to put a sign, even a handwritten note? Hey, COVID shut us down. We'll be back when we can. Here's what you do to get in touch with us. Here's it. If you need help, call. And then some had, hey, some of the dentist's office, because dentist's offices were closed in my area, had, for emergencies, call. Because guess what? If people have a wisdom tooth that needs to be extracted and they can't go without it, or if they have an infected tooth or cavity or something, they need to be able to get help now. They can't live in pain, that kind of pain, intense pain. I actually had to go to the emergency room on a weekend, because I had a crown and a tooth that had gotten infected, and my whole face swelled up. I looked like I had a baseball in my cheek, and I had to go to the hospital and get something to tie me over till I could go see the dentist on Monday. Emergency. That was really a fun visit. But it happens, right? We things are still happening to people. One of the segments of the population that I feel absolutely the worst for is chronic pain patients, people with chronic pain that depend on what has been deemed, you know, non-essential treatments, depend on radio frequency, which is a terrible treatment, by the way. It's super duper painful, but it gives them some pain relief. Radio frequency injections and things like that, massage therapy, biometrics and things. They depend on these things to help them manage their pain so that they can live, at all without being in absolute misery all the time. And I know several people in this category, because that's kind of a pet project of mine, that are just, literally almost dying. They're in so much pain. So what are some other examples? I love Jennifer and what she's doing and how she's sharing online with all of us, is why I use her as an example. And also J.J. Burden. J.J. Burden is a former football player who's usually a keynote speaker, and he speaks for a living to support his lifestyle and his family. And of course, all the stages are closed right now. But he is showing up more and more and more online, sharing his voice, encouraging people, helping people in ways that feel good and feel honorable. So they're just two people that I thought of right off the top of my head that I'm really impressed with how they're showing up. Jennifer shows up every single day. JJ used to do like once a week or something, and he's showing up more and more and like every day as well. And that to me is really exciting. People are morphing into and becoming bigger and more than they were before the pandemic. Tarek is learning to create an online side gig while he's working from home. He's working from home, and he said he was going in and out of the office like every other week, but then they stopped doing that. So he's creating a side gig. Michael is writing a book that he's always wanted to write. Ellen found ways to do phone orders on the side for her business, and while she's growing and putting together some online things so people can pick up or get via mail the stuff that she sells in her boutique for her boutique customers. Amanda has launched an online business to help women with chronic pain, which is, I just love that out of my own heart. She's going to be an online health coach for people with chronic pain. Shannon is taking online training to change her career, because she's pretty sure that after this amount of time, she is not going to be called back to her waitressing job. She worked for a restaurant and decided that it was time to figure out what she wanted to really do with her life, because, of course, waitressing was not her calling. Some people it is. Have you ever had a waitress that is so awesome that you just feel good because they waited on you? Definitely had some of those. But Shannon, that's not her calling, so she wants to do something different. Oscar is learning to do live videos and wants to start a podcast. Alex is figuring out what to do and how to transition to online events for his role and for his role in the music industry. manages things for events, and that is of course all shut down and gone away for months now, and there is really no certainty as to when that's going to come back. It will come back, but when will it come back? So just like my friend Pete Vargas, who helps people to get on online stages using their signature speech and speaking voice, Alex is looking for ways to do that in the music industry. Penny is doing challenges and courses online to learn skills in case she doesn't get called back. She's not sure if she's going to get called back to her job or not, but just in case, she's decided to take some online courses. Even Harvard University has some free courses for people. I think there's one on happiness that's really, really popular. So you can find anything you want online, but the difference between the people that are the warning and the people that are the examples, there's really only one thing. The people that are the examples are taking action. They're doing something. They're moving toward their future and what they want. They're not just sitting and waiting for the world to go back to normal. I can't tell you how many times in the survey, I'm just waiting for the world to go back to normal. That was probably the most common phrase in the whole survey. So that's it. I just wanted to share that with you today. I would love to know, what are you doing during this time to change, to learn, to grow, to pivot? Yep, the pandemic pivot, that's going to be a thing, I think. What are you doing? Share it in the comments below, and if you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, I will be with you again on Monday with the Get Up and Go Challenge. Take care. Have an awesome day. Bye.